Greetings, dear friends, and today we will have the second part of the guide on the story module, in which we will look at autocrafts and wireless transmission of resources at a distance. So, to create autocrafts, we will use a terminal with a template encoder, a crafter, a few mails, a creation manager, a creation monitor, a speed improvement that will speed up the work of our autocraft and the templates themselves for creating autocrafts. To begin with, let's look at our crafter. He has the following recipe. Let's install it in the world and open it. Inside it has the following interface. Here we have an interface for working with Reston, in which you can play around and configure it as you like. Next, we have 4 slots here in which you can insert speed improvements, respectively. Your crafter will work faster at times. And these are the slots for putting templates with autocrafts there, these ones. A little later I will tell you how they work and where they are made. Our templates have the following crafting. They themselves are empty, they need to be filled in. In order to fill them out, we will need a terminal with a template encoder. He has the next craft like this. We go into it and see the following interface. Here we have basically the same interface as the terminals, the ability to configure work with REST, display and sort items in general. The terminal conditionally has 2 modes of operation. They are switched by clicking on these squares here. The first is that we have a uniform craft, that is, you spread the recipe and there will be a result. And the second mode is processing, that is, without uniform crafting, let's say it is used to automate various mechanisms. And the Ruth dictionary option allows you to use replacements for similar items from other mods in crafting. We put our templates here, we'll make something simple from these boards, for example. So, what can we make of them? Here, we'll make a wooden pressure plate. Alright, it would seem that we just need to lay out crafting, but we don't have a result. Perhaps this is due to a bug of this mod, because it is still under development. It won't work just like that to lay out the craft. So what do I offer you? You just go through the neat crafting of this item, press the shift and left click on this movement of objects and its crafting will be laid out. Because if you try to put it here yourself, you won't succeed. Click Create Template and that's it, you have already created it. When you click on the shift, it directly changes the texture and shows what will be the result. We take our template here. Let's install our character, connect it to our system, well, let's say with an ordinary wire and install this template into this slot. Alright. Now let's go into the terminal with a workbench and see, you see, it is now possible to create pressure plates. The fonts have moved out a bit, but I think in future versions it will fix it. Click and here we can choose the quantity and the start button. So, here we are shown how much is needed to create one item and how much is available to us. Click Start, and that's it. See how fast it is to do. But if you are not satisfied with the speed, you can add the following improvement to your crafter. Now we have considered shaped crafting, let's move on to shapeless crafting using the example of the following mechanisms from crafting fashion, for example, a crusher. You all know that from a crusher, for example, you can get sand by scraping a cobblestone. Let's say we want to create the same autocraft and automate this crushing. Let's create a crafting of sand from cobblestones. We choose the processing mode, that is, undisputed crafting. We just put 1 cobblestone here. As you can see, if you take so many cobblestones, then that's exactly how it will be established for you. So we need 1. To remove them from this area, hold the shifts with the left mouse button. We take 1 cobblestone here and install it. Well, accordingly, we will need 1 sand at the exit. Create a template and that's it. Now we will install this template for our crafter. Okay, that's it, that's right, that's good. And now we will order. So, we have 125 cobblestones in the system and we will craft 1 sand. So, that's it, I ordered. The cobblestone fit into our crusher, but that's not enough. It will be destroyed, but it will not get back into the system. Therefore, I suggest that in order for everything to work successfully and be automated, install an importer. I talked about these pipes in the first part of the guide. Well, accordingly, it's just banal to connect them like this. Well, as you can see, the sand has just disappeared and has been pumped into our system. That's how automation is done. Everything works exactly the same with other mechanisms. An important clarification: it's just trite to put a crafter close to your mechanism will not give you the opportunity to automate it. You should connect your crafter with this side of the working one to your mechanism. We do it like this. The next feature that I learned on the developers forum. As you can see, there are a certain number of slots in our crafter. Let's say you've filled them all out, but you want more. And in order to use more crafting, to this mechanism, you can connect crafters to each other like this in the following way. Accordingly, the working side to this, and this working side to this mechanism. And all the crafts that you place here in this crafter, they will relate to this mechanism. Accordingly, you can indefinitely extend this chain and increase the number of recipes available to you for this mechanism. We will also consider additional subjects. The first one will be the creation manager. Here he has such a simple craft, not very complicated, and now let's see what he does. Let's go to the creation manager, briefly on its interface. So, working with the res tune, synchronizing with it, and, accordingly, the size for convenience. What does it even serve for? It displays all the crafters that are in our system. As you can see, the first crafter is connected to an electric stove, and the other to a crusher, here. And accordingly, right here you can conveniently place templates in them, but these are incorrect of course, but in principle, for convenience, a very useful thing. Let's see, he's probably already here. Yes, the template fit into this crafter remotely through this creation manager. The second interesting thing is the creation monitor. Here he has such a craft, it mainly serves to see what operations are taking place in your system and, in fact, what you will have in turn. It can also be configured using redstone. Let's see how it works directly in the case. Let's order something. Okay, we have everything, the process has started, and as you can see, what is on our queue and what is already being created is already displayed here. A very convenient thing to monitor the whole process. And now the most delicious is the wireless transmission of resources over long distances or not. To do this, we will need the following things: a network transmitter, a network receiver, a radius improvement, a network card, a wireless liquid terminal if we work with liquids, a wireless terminal if we work with objects, and a wireless transmitter. Let's look at the wireless transmitter first. He has the following: such a simple craft. It is installed on our dog and has an initial working distance of 16 blocks. It will act as an antenna. It also works from Reston. You can choose this mode yourself. You can put an improved radius in it to increase the working distance, but energy consumption increases. If it's really quite simple, then a wireless transmitter is needed in order for our wireless terminals to work. Now I will tell you more about them. In order to get resources from our system at some distance without entering the terminal, we will need these two following things. A wireless liquid terminal for liquid, respectively. A wireless terminal is just for items. They are also charged with energy. This should be taken into account and periodically recharged. If you take it in your hands and press the right mouse button, nothing will happen, the controller will not write to you. So you need to bind it. Here we have a controller. We clamp the shift plus the right mouse button, click on it, and now our terminal is tied. Let's step back a little, and now we can get everything that is in our system, and accordingly it will be taken out of it. Well, or you can order some crafts. A very convenient thing. The liquid terminal works similarly. The second method involves transferring resources over long distances and even between measurements using a network transmitter and receiver, as well as a network card. We are installing a network transmitter somewhere on our base. Let's take a little walk through the interface of the network transmitter. It can work with different types of REST signals, and it also has two slots. The first slot is responsible for the network card, which can fit there, and the second slot is responsible for improving the measurement. Let's say if you need to transfer resources between hell and the ordinary world or the edge, or any other. Alright, so, friends, and now let's try to install a network receiver at some great distance, away from our system here. Well, let's say we have a second base, we don't want to build a second system like this. We put our network receiver, it does not require energy, next to it is a terminal with a workbench and then we will need a network card. We press Shift with the right mouse button and we click on the network receiver, recording its coordinates accordingly on the network card. And now we just put our network card with coordinates into our network transmitter and wrote to us that our receiver is located at a distance of 98 blocks, over there somewhere in the distance. And now let's go into our system. You see, there are resources here and I want to get them somewhere else. So, I am now located next to the network receiver and the terminal connected to it. Their coordinates are now connected to each other. Accordingly, if I open this creation terminal, then I can take resources and systems that are located somewhere very far away, over there. And I can even order crafts. It is very convenient and simple. An important condition is that you must have both chunks loaded, that is, the chunk, where you are with the network receiver and the chunk, where your main base from the systems is located directly. Keep this in mind, otherwise you will not be able to transfer resources over long distances. Thanks for watching, friends. I hope this guide will be useful to someone. In general, I have a lot of interesting things on my channel, subscribe and watch.